The Harrison Bader saga in New York is over for now. And honestly, we're feeling a little conflicted. Let us explain.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granato. Steve, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Stace. We are officially done with August baseball. It is now September baseball. Crazy stuff to say. Thank you guys so much for clicking on the show here today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for over 4,200 subs on YouTube. You guys know it's Fanmail Friday. We have a whole bunch of questions coming up here from you guys, from our subtext community, from our YouTube community that's coming up later. We also got to talk about the last game in Detroit. First, Stacey, the big news. Bader's gone. That's it. That's all she wrote. Into the sunset he rides. Harrison Bader claimed by the Cincinnati Reds. Kind of wild, Stace. He had some comments. They talked to him on Yes, and he was in tears, man. Like he was fighting back some tears. He had clearly cried a little bit. Obviously had said his goodbyes and stuff. I mean, it was kind of sombering to watch that. I don't know how you felt about it. We haven't really talked about it. So how did you watched it? So how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I felt the same way because, hometown boy plays for his hometown team. The stuff that he did in the playoffs, we'll get into it in a bit, but it just even though he didn't make an immediate impact because he was injured the first few weeks that he was here last year, he made such an impact when he first started playing. And even earlier in the year when he was injured, came back, provided a spark for the team. And I just imagined him being a Yankee for a while, not just barely a year, So I was a little bummed about that. And you could just see how upset he was about it. He knows it's the business, and he's hoping that maybe the Yankees might be interested in a reunion with him come free agency. But yeah, you could see it in his face. I felt bad. And I was hoping that, the reporters weren't going to needle at him and make him actually shed tears for them, because I was just like, don't do that. I don't need to see that. But yeah, I felt bad.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch. And you mentioned he did kind of allude to that, like, hey man, I'm not open to re-signing in New York, which I thought was an interesting thing. Yeah, I think, look, the numbers, let's just go through them. Overall games played regular season with the Yankees, he only played 98 games.
Yeah.
Which has underlying tones, of course. 237, 273, 353. Those are numbers that no one's going, wow, he really, come on.
Right.
The postseason you mentioned, the 2022 postseason, I mean, what a ride. He really contributed in a massive way. 5 bombs in the ALDS and the ALCS. He drove in 6 in 9 games. He had a huge postseason last year.
Yeah.
And at that point, the Montgomery trade for Bader felt like, okay, this is worth it right now. Worth it right now. Obviously, overall, you're going, man, you could have really used Jordan Montgomery this year. Really could have used it. But the bigger saga here is for me is thinking, I don't think the Yankees ever got Harrison Bader, really. It never really felt like Harrison Bader was there contributing. And I'm sure in a few years, if you look back at it for him, he probably goes man, yes, I got the opportunity. That was wonderful. That's amazing. I got to wear my home colors. I got to do all that stuff. But it still feels like at this point, what could have been.
Yeah. Kind of feels like Joey Gallo in a way, just not as bad.
Sure. Yeah.
It's very similar.
Yeah. I mean, the injuries here are in your face. And, the ones that he dealt with here in 2023, just that image of him walking off the field with a trainer that's an unfortunate lasting image for me right now. Because again, you kind of, it just feels like there was so much potential for him to really shine. And he had those moments in the postseason, but he just never really had the opportunity. It felt like, because of the injuries, to really put it all together. And that's just such a bummer because he's a pretty easy guy to root for.
He really is. I talk about it all the time. It was a pleasure watching him in the outfield, the Statue of Liberty glove. You could see him taking it in because he was from Bronxville, and he went to Yankee Stadium as a kid. So, obviously the old stadium, but it's still, you're in Yankee Stadium, you're wearing the pinstripes, you're the hometown boy. And for him to do what he did in the playoffs right away, like I really was like, wow, this is going to be so cool to have him. And then the injuries just derailed him, which is the big, big bummer.
Yeah, obviously, like we've done with every player, like we've done on this show, it's been kind of an in memoriam season. Honestly, we wish our best. We wish our absolute best. Hopefully Harrison Bader contributes to the Reds, and that very exciting and young team makes a push. Like I really hope they do, and I hope Harrison Bader is that driving veteran presence in that club with Joey Votto. So hopefully so. Speaking of riding off into the sunset, Josh Donaldson signs with the Brewers. He gets a minor league deal. He's going to go to Nashville. Don't know if he's going to be available right away. Remember, he was getting close to rehab. Quickly, your thoughts on Donaldson? Of course, we've made our piece on the show before, but just with this news now.
I mean, good for him because he gets to at least try to make it to a team that's in contention. The same thing can be said for Bader. I know a lot of Yankee fans, when the Bader thing, they felt bad for him because of the whole not being a Yankee thing, but he's going to a team that's in contention. The Yankees aren't, so he has a chance to contribute. And if Donaldson can do something, you never know. So
yeah. Maybe he can watch a couple of fly balls there too. Saw that. I don't know if you saw that compilation pop up. That hit my feed a couple of times. The compilation of Josh Donaldson staring at fly balls. What a time!
Bat flip walks, and yes. He could do that.
Oh yeah, good times. Anyway, we've made our peace with Josh Donaldson at this point. We've said it a couple of times. Mm-hmm. Okay, hey, now on to this part. Yankees couldn't complete the sweep last night or yesterday afternoon in Detroit. Final score in 10 innings of 4-3. Stace, I mean, it's really the Volpe homer. It's really the Volpe homer. He's doing it, man. He's really coming through in the clutch, which is not something I foresaw.
Yeah. I just thought he's done this a bunch of times where the Yankees needed to either tie or like get something going, and he's the one doing it. And I'll let you guys in behind the curtain. I was doing the rundown while the game was on, and I just put offense shut down, lose 3-0, this and that, and then boom. And I thought, all right, I got to erase all that now because of Volpe. Good for you, kid. Unbelievable. 2020, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, first Yankee rookie shortstop to do that, which is amazing because of, thinking of his start, thinking of people wanting to send him back to the minors and the Yankees not doing that and letting him find his way. And he found his way. And there are some things he needs to work on, but this is a great rookie season. Like, honestly, 20 home runs, who would have seen that happening?
Yeah, especially because we knew going into it that he's not really a big pop guy. Mm-hmm. He had some, obviously. He had some heading into the year, but he's a pretty unassuming pop threat. And he's had it this year. I mean, look at the numbers. Like you said, there's a lot to work on, and we knew that, and they knew that going into the season. So, I've said it 100 times, Stace. I really like Anthony Volpe. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's got good makeup to be a shortstop in the bigs. What the ceiling is, I still think is undetermined for me, at least at this point. I don't know what the ceiling is for Anthony Volpe. I think he could be an all-star shortstop. We'll see if it goes higher than that. But yeah, 2020, man. What more could you want out of him in a rookie season and essentially in a lost season at this point? So good on you, Anthony Volpe. Always rooting for you, kid. Yeah, the bad throw from Gleyber stings. Obviously, that wasn't the greatest moment in the world.
Right.
That's how she rolls, man. That's how she rolls.
It's just how the season is going, right? Because, the Yankees tie it in an exciting fashion in the top of the ninth with 2 outs, I may add. And as soon as they didn't score in the 10th, I'm like, all right, how are they going to lose this time? And I joked on Twitter. I said, I've seen the ending to this movie. And then I think I quote tweeted myself and I said, okay, I wasn't expecting that exact ending because I was not expecting an error like that to end the game. And I told you before we started filming, but one of my Tiger friends was like, God, the only way you could win a game against the Yankees is for them to commit an error. That's how bad we're doing this year. I said, yeah. I mean, that's just how baseball goes.
We made some bold predictions as we always did. Stacy, yours and mine. Let's take a listen back to what we said a couple of days ago before the series started. Bold predictions for the series in Detroit.
Yankees win 3 out of 4.
I'm going to stick on the negative side because it worked out well for the Yankees last time. Kerry Carpenter goes deep twice, drives in minimum 5 in the 4-game series. Not quite, Steve. Not quite, Steve. Kerry Carpenter ended up going 4 for 17 with 1 RBI. All 4 of his hits were singles. Stacy, the Yankees won 3 of 4. Congratulations. You now have a 3-point lead on the leaderboard here for the 2023 season. 5 points to 2 in the bold predictions category. And I really got to sit down and think about my bold predictions for next week. I think I need to do some deep analytical math and really try and figure out if I can predict the future next week, because I am running out of time to catch you in the scoreboard.
I don't know. I don't know why I felt it. I kind of did, just because of the way the Tigers were playing, and I felt the Yankees could actually do okay against them, but I wasn't really expecting that. So I was very happy. And I should have thought about that while the game was going on, because I got mad that they lost. And I was like, oh, wait, no, I just won the bold prediction.
You did. And hey, the Yankees still won the series.
Yes.
Let us know how you're feeling about the series. Let us know how you're feeling. Are you feeling conflicted about Harrison Bader? Please let us know in the comment section down below. You guys know it's Fanmail Friday. We have a bunch of questions from you guys when we come back.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now, that's a good deal. It's the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. Now, the New York football season is going to be something else, between Aaron Rodgers trying to lead the Jets to maybe a Super Bowl for the first time in a really long time. You have the Giants doing well too. So go to FanDuel. You can visit them at fanduel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Back now on Locked On Yankees. Yankees Astros starts tonight. You can listen to that on SiriusXM. Download the SiriusXM app today. YouTube viewers just got a great Stace face right there. Hey, on Monday, every day is 2. Minors Monday. Come on, guys. You already know. We're running out of Minors Mondays. Only a couple weeks left of the minor league season. Then the postseason will be following the Somerset run. Hopefully, we are following a Hudson Valley run. Hopefully, we are following a Scranton Wilkes-Barre run. We will see. Somerset's the only one that's locked something down so far. Okay. Fanmail Friday, your favorite day of the week. Next to Minors Monday. We have our subtexters. As you guys already know, subtexters get priority for Fanmail Friday. It's one of their big perks. And I'm just going to go ahead and call this out right now for subtexters. I'm also going to text you guys here in a couple of weeks. But I want you guys to start thinking about what you want out of subtext in the off season. Just because obviously a lot of it is roster moves and in-game stuff, and that doesn't really happen. So let us know what you want out of subtext for the offseason. Again, I'll ask you guys in text form in a couple weeks once the season is actually over. Okay, let's get to the subtext questions first, Stacey. Our first one's coming from Betty in OG. Betty asks, if the call-ups really happen, they're happening, Betty. What do you guys think the lineup will be for the very first game? And what will the catching rotation look like? Thank you, Betty, for being a subtexter, and thanks for your question. We have we talked about the catching rotation yesterday. Question mark. It's a question mark right now. There's 3 catchers. That makes it harder. Rortved's better defensively than Wells. Wells, in theory, better offensively than Rortvet. It's a whole mess. We'll see. As far as lineup is concerned, Stace, do you think tonight we're going to see both of them? Are we going to see a crazy night where Dominguez, Pereira, Volpe, Wells,
Peraza,
and Peraza are all in the lineup? That seems insane.
That does seem insane. I don't think all of them are going to be in there. You might see the majority of them. You won't see Wells, but you might see the rest of them. It's possible. Just don't know what order.
Yeah, I think we will see Dominguez in center now that Bader is cleared. I mean, IKF was playing center yesterday, so we've seen him do it a couple of times, but still, we'll see. I I would love for that to happen. I just don't see it actually happening, especially against Justin Verlander and the Astros.
Yeah.
Seems insane. But hey, you never know. You never know. I will just scream to the heavens if I see him at first base, though. Thank you, Betty, for your question. I'd be shocked to see him all at once, but if we're going with it, I think the only one we wouldn't see as well is day one.
Yeah.
I think we might see him maybe Saturday. Might see him behind the plate on Saturday. I don't know. Caution to the wind, though. Do it.
The timing of this is amazing because they're in Houston for a series against the Astros, and they have all these kids. And the season
and the
didn't
Astros
work
are
out the way
obviously fighting for their lives right now.
Yeah. So, like, oh God, it's a perfect storm of who knows.
So many things at once. I'm sure you guys will be watching. Don't miss it. All right. Thank you, Betty, for your question. This one's coming from Josue. Hi, guys. Thanks for the work you do every day, and I enjoy every minute of the show. Oh, Josue. Just want to say that I saw on TV Bader sounding completely heartbroken. This is a couple of days ago when he got placed on waivers, saying that he found out he was put on waivers in the lunchroom, that he saw it pop up on ESPN or something. What are your thoughts about that, and what kind of message do you think that sends to the team? To me, it makes management feel so detached. Thank you, Josue, for your question. Maybe I'm a little less cynical about this part of it. This happens, man.
Right.
This happens a little too often. Maybe that's more indicative of the industry as a whole, but just know that the information travels really, really fast when these things happen, and that's not an excuse. The proper way probably should be tell them first and then it happens, but the information slips. It's not like the Yankees made the announcement and then that's how he found out.
Right.
That's not the case. And again, this happens everywhere. It's not a Yankees issue.
Yeah, a lot of people were going a little nuts about this, and it was kind of odd to see this happening. And like I always joke, it's 2023. How do you not know how waiver stuff works? Because I remember there was a year where the Yankees put like everyone on waivers because no one was going to be picked up, but they just did it anyway. And like people like Jorge Posada, like it was like whatever year that was, it was really weird. And everyone was freaking out about it. And it's like, no one's going to take him in his contract. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, I think it's just the whole, if Bader hadn't said that, they wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like if they found out through the grapevine that that's the way he found out, I think it was him saying it and talking about it that made people so riled up about it. But people need to learn how waiver stuff works because the teams can't tell. It's just how it goes.
And it's not even just waiver. It's just news.
Right.
Because it's someone in the inside letting it slip or somebody's agent, just because rumors come out and here we go, we're heading into rumor season very, very soon. This is always a good reminder. They aren't always, I'm not going to say true, but they aren't always like 100% truthful, I should say. Sometimes a lot of that information comes from agents themselves who are talking up their client to try and get other teams to move the market. Just always remember that kind of thing. Just as we move forward, I will say that disclaimer 15 times this offseason. Thank you, Josue, for your question. And again, don't worry, or maybe not again, but you're not the only one who thought this. I just wanted to make sure we cleared that up for sure. All right, Stacey, we have this one coming from subtexter Adam, and it also lines right up with a question we got from one of our YouTubers, so I'm going to read them together. Adam asked us nice and simple. Closer for next year, Holmes versus Loaizaga, and then Martin Ober, a regular on the YouTube side, asked us, do you think Clay Holmes will be the Yankees closer in 2024, or will they go in a different direction? Are they grooming a prospect in the farm system to be a future closer? Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Martin, for your questions. Stacey, Clay Holmes recently, pretty rough right now. He's on a rough stretch. Loaizaga, Holmes, what are you thinking for 2024 closer-wise? Are we still doing this committee thing?
I think we're still doing this committee thing. Holmes is having his what's wrong with Mo week, it feels like, because Mo had a week every year in August where he'd blow a couple saves and everyone's like, oh, he's finally done. And then he'd be perfectly fine and, go through the playoffs, not giving up any runs. And so people were joking about that this week with Holmes. Yeah, I think it might be, I don't think they're going to name a permanent closer. And I think it's too soon to even think about that. You got to see how they're doing in spring training, who's healthy, who's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially with no bona fide guy. As far as Martin's side of the question, grooming a prospect for the farm system, not really. Greg Weissert is the answer, really. And for a time, it was also Jimmy Cordero. how did that go? So yeah, there's not like one bona fide guy. If anybody, it's Weissert. That's like a prospect. You know what I mean? Like not just like the guy who's the best pitcher at the time. That's kind of how it also works down there. Is kind of how the Yankees are working up top. So yeah, I think it's still majority Holmes. Holmes right now is on a bad stretch, so it's right now it's not great looking, but overall body of work, yeah. But I mean, Loizaga's not a bad choice either. I mean, let's be real. He's pitched well. He's pitched very well. So we'll see how they go. I think it will have to do with how this month goes and how spring training goes. And you mentioned health, Stacey. That's super important because I don't think the Yankees are going to go out and make like a big closer signing, especially for 2024. It doesn't seem likely. Okay. That's our first set of questions. Again, if you want to jump the line, you can always join Subtext. It's in the episode description. You get a whole bunch of other perks as well. You guys have heard me talk about it 1,000 times. We're going to step aside one more time. We come back, a couple more questions before we get out of here. Back now on Locked On Yankees. Yankees Astros tonight on SiriusXM. Catch the late call with John and Susan. Download the SiriusXM app today. Stacey, a couple more questions before our end of week is here. Let's jump to our YouTubers again. This is coming from Vincent M. Durham, 1695. Do y'all think the Yankees are going to make improvements to the team in the offseason by letting Everson Pereira and Oswald Peraza, almost said what you wrote, earn a chance to make the opening day roster and make a run at Cody Bellinger? Are they going to blame the horrendous 2023 season on injuries and bad luck and run it back next year? Keep up the great work, Stacey and Steve. Thank you, Vincent, for the nice words. It's Oswald Peraza. How dare you? I can't believe you would ever mix those two up. How could you ever do that? I've never done that in my life. Stacey, lots of moving parts here. How do you think they go into this offseason?
Well, they're definitely going to blame it on injuries and bad luck.
Which is it's slightly valid. Like there is a validness to
it.
That.
It is, but it's not the only reason. But it is
But
it is a big reason. I mean, like you can't, because there were so many people talking about that, like, oh, the Yankees can't blame things on injuries. Yeah, they can. They went without Rizzo, and Rizzo was playing, but he was clearly not himself. Judge was out for 2 months. That's a big missing piece from your lineup. And you saw what happened to the Yankees. They fell off a farking cliff, because I can't say the word. So yes, the injuries are valid, but I feel like they're going to blame that too much instead of blaming what the real problem is. You know what I mean?
Roster construction.
Yes, because the Yankees love doing that. Oh, well, it was the injuries, and it was a bunch of bad luck, and we'll be fine because they do that all the time. And it's like, no, it's roster construction, and this isn't going to change unless you change things in levels.
I'm curious how the Yankees operate, because the way they should operate, and maybe this is going to get me in hot water. This is probably going to get me in hot water. I'm going to say it anyway. Look, I love Cody Bellinger. He's like the first big guy I ever covered. And he was the greatest dude. He was a 19-year-old kid, and I loved covering him every single day. It was awesome. And I will wear that on my sleeve every single day for the rest of my life. They shouldn't go after him. I think that's just going to take away from your core for 2024. I think you need to go into 2024 knowing it's going to be a losing season. Right.
Or maybe not losing, but maybe not contending. Right.
Could be both. I think if you're doing this right now, then that means next season you're doing it again. Just where the organization is at, prospects wise, and how that's all looking. We've said it before, 2024 might be worse than 2023.
Yeah.
We'll see. It also could be like an Orioles situation where all the kids work out.
Right. And then Judge stays healthy. Like that.
Yeah, a lot could go right.
Right. But
also we've also talked about it. Yes, we've also talked about it though. Cody Bellinger has that option, so he very much might not be a free agent anyway. By all accounts, he likes Chicago. So yeah, and they like him in Chicago. So he might be sticking in Chicago. So this might be moot anyway. Thank you, Vincent. A couple more here today, Stacey. This is coming from Angelo Reina 5336. If both Pereira and Peraza hit well in September, there's a possibility they both start in 2024. That being said, New York would only have one left-handed batter, Rizzo, in the starting lineup. What do you think New York would do in order to get a more balanced lineup? Thank you, Angelo. Don't forget, we have a switch hitter now, potentially in center field in Jason Dominguez. If he hits I'm not even going to say if he hits, if he hits 100 in September, has a good spring, he's on the team next year probably.
Mm-hmm.
So, because there's no other options besides Judge in center really at that point.
That's true.
Like
We don't
internally.
need that. Right.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think New York would do in order to get a more balanced lineup? Go back in time and get Bryce Harper. How about that?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the Bellinger thing we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Every time I see Bryce Harper hit a home run, I think to myself, oh, God, that would have looked so great in Yankee Stadium.
Or how about, I don't know, stop treating Estevan Florial like a 4-year-old child.
That too. Again, I'm going to say it till things change. How you build a stadium like that and then have a lineup that's mostly righties. Now, some of them can pop it to right field. Stanton can do it. Judge can do it. Volpe did it on Thursday. But you can't rely on that either. Like, you need someone from more than one person from the left side. And I know switch hitters aren't as common either because, yeah, I mean, at one point the Yankees had Tex, Swisher, and Posada as switch hitters. And then you had Matsui lefty, you had Jeter and A-Rod righty. And it was just like such a every other. That's why they were so good, because how could pitchers face a lineup like that that's so different? And the Yankees just completely went off the rails and went to the opposite of that. And they just, it goes back to roster construction and changing the philosophy. And it feels like they're not going to do that anytime soon. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, well, we can go deeper into that. Maybe I'm going to write that down. Left-handed hitting off-season episode. See, we're already in that mode, man. We're in that mode, Angelo.
Thanks to the Yankees, we're going to be in the off season way sooner than we expected when the season started. So,
oh yeah, I'm like putting my head to pillow every night, and I'm like, okay, we'll do that on October 15th, and then we'll do this. And my brain's already moving for off season stuff. We're still 5 days a week for a while, guys. So don't worry, we'll still be around. Thank you, Angelo. We will address that way more in the off season. That's for sure. Once the market kind of clears out, once we know how options are working and who actually is in the free agent class, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of options on the potential free agent market right now. So it's a little weird of a landscape. All right. Thank you, Angela. One more question here for today, Stace. This is a newcomer, I believe, at seb.marine asking, I heard Boone might be coming back next year. If that's the case, given how bad it was this year, do you think they will have a mindset shift back to fundamentals, or will it be another year like 23 where the front office promises the World Series, but we don't even make the playoffs? Curious what your takes are. Stace, can I be glass half full and say the Yankees heading into 2024 aren't going, we are trying to win the World Series right now? I would love for them to not do that.
Right. It would be very great if they could stop doing that. And I feel like, again, going back to the whole, are they going to blame this on injuries and bad luck? That's going to be why Boone stays, because I don't see him going anywhere. It's not his fault that they didn't do well this season. It's bad luck and injuries and roster construction. He has nothing to do with that.
There is truth behind that. We've talked about that a couple of times already.
That's why I said, was it earlier in the week when I said about Sean Casey? I'm like, yeah, I really don't see him going anywhere, because if Boone stays, he's staying. He's going to be hitting coach for a full year in 2024. So
yeah, and that might not be a bad thing. Let's be fair. Might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Nah, that's he's getting some respect in that clubhouse, as we've learned.
Yeah, it's a big thing when the veterans are coming out, and guys who have played for like 10 years who are like, oh yeah, no, I like what this dude's philosophy is, and he's helping me, and this is like, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah,
about a hitting coach.
Yeah, it sure is. If you had to pinpoint it, Stace, if you had to look into the crystal ball, do you think they're going to promise a World Series? Like, is Hal going to come out at Steinbrenner Field, and is he going to say, we hope to contend this year and where our goal is the World Series in 2024? Do you think he's going to say that?
No, because they're not going to be able to really sign anyone that's going to put them over the top. And as we said earlier in the show, 2024 is going to be there's going to be a lot of kids on the team. And you can't say something like that when you have a bunch of unproven talent on the team and you have no idea what they were getting. Could you imagine if the Orioles did that before this season? People would be laughing at them. Now it's possible that they could, but if someone had said that, oh yeah, we're contending for the Worlds, people would be like, okay.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a down year. It's just this, at least that's how it looks.
Yeah.
Could turn out a different way.
Unless a miracle happens, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind
They
of
have to hit
miracle
on a
would
lot
they-
of prospects. They have to hit on a lot of them, like the Orioles did.
Right.
Just have to. All right, that's a great way to end the show. Hey, don't forget, coming up on Monday, it's Miners Monday. You guys already know all that. Thank you all for your questions. Sorry we can't get to all of them every week. Of course, you can skip the line by joining subtext. You either get a guaranteed answer on the show or in text form. We had to answer a couple in text message because we couldn't fit them all in today's show. As you see, because we're running long, let's get out of here, Stacy. Astros, Yankees tonight, Jason Dominguez, Austin Wells this weekend. Reasons to watch. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsulias. We will see you on Monday. And what is it? The first Monday of September. It's the first Monday of September. How exciting.